Hello.
Hello.
Good. This has been
Right.
good. Hey,
Hello. Good morning.
I'm just glad to see y'all because it has taken me a minute to get started. So everybody looks good. So I'm gonna take attendance while we're getting started. Gina, Gwen, Irene. Hey, Gwen.
Hi, hi, Dr. Bell.
Okay. Sarah.
Hi.
Hi. Let's see. Kelly, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Hey, Mallory. You excited?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we all are. We don't know what we're gonna do when we go back. Mr.
That's
Sutherland,
true.
that's true. How are you? He's music. Let me see. Brittany.
Hi.
Hi. So I spoke to Riley. Seton Heights, how are you? Had some conversation with your people yesterday. Farrell, how are you? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're Kelly's CT.
Right.
Okay. Gina Allen. Peyton, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Your CT is here. Irene Smith, I think. Let's see. Irene, you smiling. Appreciate the conversation yesterday. Okay. And Danielle. Irene and Danielle, I was told that you all did not work in Beaufort County Schools. I'm so glad that we got correct information.
Yes, ma'am.
And Lisa Gaynor, that's what we have. And I'll continue to take attendance as students come in. Debbie, I see you as well. How are you? And
I'm great. How are you?
good, I'm just fine. I'm trying to make sure. Tiffany Lewis. Tiffany, how are you?
How about yourself?
I'm fine. I'm still waiting on your placement. I don't think we'll have a problem, but we're still waiting. I have a couple of students we're still waiting for place.
Okay.
But we just haven't gotten those placed yet. Miss Harris, how are you? Your Mallory's. Okay.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and I apologize because I came into the office today to do this. I thought it would be easier for sharing screens, and when I got here, I hadn't used it all summer, and we transitioned from one Zoom account to another one. So it took me a minute to be able to find my way, but thank God I was able to do that. So let's see if we can get this show on the road. Now I gotta go back. See if I can find my screen share. Can y'all see the screen yet? Let's see. Y'all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, good. We'll go ahead and get started. And we'll have some time for some questions. I'm not gonna promise you I can answer them all, but I will do the very best that I can. Dr. Bullock Maxwell is here, and if I have questions, I can run down and ask her. Maybe we can get answers for you, whatever. Because she's kind of been in the thick of things as far as the university is concerned. So we'll get started. Just want to say welcome again. Thank you all for attending. And I hope that the presentation today or the information will be helpful and beneficial. And I think the next thing I need to learn to do is move this slideshow. We'd like to pause, and most of you, if you knew you were in my classes, I would pause for a moment of silence at the beginning of a class. So let's just do this. And I want to reference the North Carolina General Statute 115C 47, which allows for a moment of silence, not to exceed a minute for teachers in the classroom. So we'll just do that today. Okay, thank you for that. I've already taken most of my attendance. I'm sure some other students will come in, and I probably at the end, if I don't forget, I'll put a note to check attendance again. And we'll just hold up at that time and do that. Attendance isn't counted for this particular purpose, but I do it because when students have questions, I'll know if they were there or not. So that makes a difference for me. Okay, we know we've been in this pandemic since March, and it's been a challenge for all of us, but you know, we're happy to get through it, and we're praying that we will. So just want to share with you some information as it relates to the University of Mount Olive. Our new students are coming back. They will come in on the 24th, and our traditional semester in our online classes will also start August the 24th. But our first day of seated classes will start August the 25th. That may change between now and that date. The thinking is that maybe possibly if, for example, I have a class, maybe half will come one day and half will come the next day, of course, with everything that's needed for to make sure that we are covered. So right now we don't know. We do know that the first day of seated classes will be August 25th. You as a student teacher, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, whatever the protocol is for your system that you have been assigned is what you will follow. And of course, here at the university, we will have to wear masks. We will observe 6 feet social distancing. And of course, we're going to wash and sanitize our hands. The governor says that public schools will reopen next month for both in-person and remote instruction. Schools will have the option of Plan C for all remote learning if they feel it's best for them. And so you'll have to see at the end of this or somewhere near the end, we'll talk about making a contact with your clinical teacher to find out what that system is going to do. So once you do that, you'll just follow that protocol coming from your clinical teacher. I know that most of those plans probably do not allow for others to come in because they're only looking at essential personnel. So as far as our supervising professors, we will probably evaluate you online or remotely. I know that most of our professors are in my category, high risk. So I know they do not want to have to be in the classrooms or in the schools. And I talked with the board chair this morning, and she was telling me that it's just easier to keep everybody who's supposed to be there without other people coming in, because if something happens, we got to go back and figure out who has been in the building. So I think everybody's probably just going to limit it to essential personnel. Then the governor says, as a part of this plan, we want local school districts to provide a remote learning option for any child who chooses it. In addition, school districts will have the option of Plan C, as we said in the previous statement, all remote learning, if that's what's best for them. Under Plan B, there's some measures that will take place, and I'm doing this because you're in the thick of things as it relates to the schools. Of course, require face coverings for all the teachers, K-12. So if you are allowed to go into the school for whatever reason, as part of your student teaching internship, these are the things that you need to remember. That there should be limiting the total number of students, staff, and visitors within a school building to the extent necessary that they can provide that 6 feet of distance. Screening should be conducted. Of course, that would include temperature checks. And then there should be a process established and a dedicated space for those who must isolate if they are found to be ill or running a temperature until they can get home. And of course, there must be some means of transportation to get those students maybe out of that facility as quick as possible. And of course, you're supposed to be cleaning and disinfecting high touch surfaces in the school. And again, the board members, my classmate, and we thought that we're going to forget about, most of the teachers will probably forget about classroom management when they go back, if they're in person, because it's going to be COVID management. They're going to be saying, okay, make sure you sanitize, put your mask back on. Did you share that apple with somebody that you just bit off of? So we just laughed about that because we felt like it's probably going to be more COVID or pandemic virus management than classroom management and teaching. So we'll see how it goes. So she said that if we do 2 hours of teaching and 2 hours of management, then at least the kids have been there that length of time. Of course, it's requiring frequent hand washing throughout the school day, sanitizing. Can teachers that are on with me, can you imagine how that's gonna look, especially for elementary schools? Anyway, they're asking to discontinue any activities with large groups, and of course, limiting non-essential visitors. That's what we would be, and self-service food. So I'm thinking bag lunches. I don't know. I'm not in the thick of that. Hallways should be entrance and exits labeled. Keeping students and teachers in small groups that stay together as much as possible. If you have 10 students that day, it will be your 10 students and yourself. Meals delivered to the classroom, we just talked about. And physical barriers, plexiglass at reception desks. Now, we were surveyed early on if we wanted plexiglass in our offices. I requested plexiglass, but I don't see any anywhere in this building. And I talked with the maintenance person Monday, and he said they had not even gotten to that point. So we're thinking about opening up in August. So I don't know what's going to happen. All right. So we'll move into our student teaching information. And first thing I want you to remember is that as you're preparing to go back into the schools, regardless as to whether it will be remotely or in and out, a combination, I need you to make sure that you read the North Carolina Code of Ethics. The veteran teachers on this call, on this Zoom, are all familiar with it. If you had EDU 485, I'm sure that those professors went over the Code of Ethics, and we kind of mentioned it somewhat in 303, but we didn't delve on it. And the purpose of that is just to help you to establish all the teachers to have a uniform standard of professional conduct as licensed professionals. So you going into the profession, you need to know what the Code of Ethics are, and you've done that. Just gonna go over a couple because I think it's important that they are on your mind, and I'm not going through the entire code. To protect students from conditions within your control that circumvent learning and are detrimental to their health and safety. You should maintain appropriate relationships with students. That's going to be pretty, may I say pretty easy, but we just have to remember not to interact with students, especially high school students, on Facebook and sending text messages and things of that nature, because that can get us in trouble. Just stay a safe distance from your students. I know elementary school, we like to hug students, and that's all well and good. Just be cautious of that. Because they need to be hugged, and you can't stay away from students in kindergarten and first grade if they need their nose wiped or their tears wiped. So just be careful. C says evaluate students and assign grades based upon the students' demonstrated competencies and performances. You all know that. Discipline students justly and fairly, holding confidence information that you learned about the student. Refuse to accept, let's say, significant gifts and favors. No, we can take a Christmas gift because it's not, 9 times out of 10, it is not a car. So I'm sure that's different. Utilize available resources to provide a classroom climate conducive to learning. Acknowledge the diverse views of students, parents, legal guardians. You know that you've had societal context, and we've talked about diversity throughout the entire last few semesters that you were here. If you're given a contract, please sign it in good faith. Don't abandon the contract. Be professional about it. Participate actively in professional development opportunities. And at that point, I will say to the clinical teachers who are here, if at any point your student, there's a professional development activity that you feel your student teachers should participate in, please let them know and encourage them to do so. All right. And the other one is when acting in an administrative capacity, that's item E. So when you get yours, you can look at E for yourselves. Okay, for EDU 493 and 499, particularly 493, that's my class. If you are a residency or somewhere still phasing out lateral entry candidates, you probably are not in 493. 493 is for students who are traditional students. So this would pertain to them. There will be a first week observation. In the past, it has been designed with some questions for you to respond to, but this time, because of the pandemic and because you may be working remotely, I'm just going to ask you to probably summarize what your first week was like, maybe add some challenges and how you think you can come across or get over those challenges. And of course, always submit your assignments because attendance will be taken before 93 as well as before 93. Let's talk about the responsibilities for the student teaching intern. The student teaching intern, of course, is responsible, as you are already aware and know, because in 303 and 304, you did lesson plans, assessment plans, you did lesson plans, assessment plans to be submitted and evaluated. Well, you'll still have to do that. And you're also your lesson plans will be kind of infiltrated with your PPAT assessment. And most of you already understand or know what PPAT is, but we'll talk about that a bit later. You should also have an innovation plan. Everybody on this call should have an innovation plan. If it has not been completed at this time, you need to make sure you touch bases with your supervising professor to make sure that you understand what should be included in that plan. A lot of those plans are done in your in content areas. And of course, you have to have a research paper, which should have been completed in your content area. If not, you need to touch bases with your supervising professor immediately so that you can start to work on that. For EDU 493, you'll have to develop a classroom management plan. This is going to be a little bit tough this time, but I need you to center it around what you would do if you were in that classroom, as well as include some online characteristics or criteria that you would use if you were teaching online. And also, of course, been taught, use the appropriate standards for developing your learning outcomes. And of course, as we said before, attend any teacher meetings or professional activities as deemed necessary by your clinical teacher. Also, you must remember to abide by the schedule for the school that you have been assigned. Make sure that you upload your assignments to Moodle as they are requested by your 493 or your 499 professors. And of course, towards the end, you will have to upload your student teaching documents that we will talk about. And of course, as part of your responsibility, as I said before, you should review the Code of Ethics for North Carolina professional teachers. So, okay, so clinical teachers, I would ask that you would provide for me your personal information, personal data, and I will send out a survey to you in order for you to provide that information to me. We are asking that you provide 3-form evaluations for your student teaching interns, and also to complete a final evaluation. That is the LEA IHE certification of capacity form. We will talk about that. I'll show you that when I have all the forms. I'll show you. So with that capacity form, with that LEA IHE certification of teaching capacity, there are METs and not METs. It's either one or the other. And we hope that all of our students are in the MET category towards the end. Maybe about midterm, the supervising professor or the clinical teacher should get together and just discuss if they see any areas in which the student needs to improve, that they get together. Maybe if they have to develop a professional development plan, or at least work to help to eliminate that area if they see it's not going to be at MET standards. This form has to be, as required by the University of Mount Olive, submitted to NCDPI when you prepare your application for licensure. So let's just make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure that we meet the standards. And of course, the clinical teacher's responsibility, as you know, is while you're there to monitor the student teacher while he or she is teaching. and of course to assist with the development of the lesson plans and of course the assessment plans, because those are your students. Those are your students in that classroom. So you want to make sure that that lesson plan mimics what needs to be done in that school, that the students are using the appropriate standards, and the supervising professors will evaluate those lesson plans as well. So there are 3 sets of eyes on those lessons plans and assessment plans. And we talk about ensuring the proper introduction and sequence of the class load attainment based on your schedule. That means that you will decide when your student is ready to take on the first load or the first course, first class or the first subject, or the second one or the third one, working with your supervising professor. And I'll talk about that a minute or two later on. Meet with your student teaching intern weekly, if at all possible, to provide feedback. But you're going to talk with them at the end of each and every day. You're probably going to talk during the class. Is what you're supposed to do. Most of you are seasoned with good evaluation, so I know that you know what to do. And thank you so much for agreeing to even do this, even with the challenge that we have. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because you did not have to do this. As we said, review and evaluate your lesson and assessment plans that the students have. And you should see them weekly, just whatever, daily, whatever you desire from those students. Just make sure that they provide those lesson plans for you. There will be an end of internship survey that I will send out, or will be sent. I don't know if Dr. Bullock Maxwell will send that one or if I'll send it, but you will receive one. You do receive a stipend for this, if you weren't told. It's not a lot, but it's just a way to say thank you for helping us out a little bit. I always say maybe you can take it and go to McDonald's and buy you some breakfast, but you might get a little gas out of it as well. So the stipend will come after you have completed the internship survey. It's only $200 for those of you who don't know. So we know that you're just doing this from the really bottom of your heart. But that's what teachers do. Just about everything we do as teachers is from the bottom of our heart, because it's there for us, and that's what we want to do. And also at the end, we will have a certificate for you. We will send you a certificate which will count for 3 certification credits, CEUs. And of course, supervising professors ask that you develop your schedule in Moodle, as you know to do. You can take attendance at least weekly, daily if you so desire. If you talk with your student teaching internship turn daily, then you can. But usually you'll just do weekly will be sufficient. I think you and Mo would like attendance taken on Sunday, so just try to remember to do that so we don't get dinged. You have an attendance lapse, so make sure you do that. And then we have some students who are military, and they need that in order to be able to keep their grants and loans. Make sure that all evaluations are done in a timely manner. Observe students on a regular basis, and at least 3 formal observations to provide feedback with them, as well as the formal observation. So here's what we have as the schedule for observing the teachers. And it's going to be a little bit difficult online, but I think we can get through it. Since we're fall, we should expect an evaluation in September, 1 in October, 1 in November, and then the final LEA IHE certification of capacity 4. Now you can do that. Supervising professors might go back a 4th time or 5th time in order to make sure they have what they need. It doesn't matter. They're on their schedule. I trust them to do what they need to do. Sometimes they may do 2, the November and the final at the same time, but it's up to them. I hope you're writing your questions down. I haven't stopped it even, and I hope nobody's sending up. Let me see any chats, because I haven't been paying attention. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, class load. The supervising professors we mentioned early will provide guidance as to when the student teacher will be ready to assume the first class or subject, and then once they get the first class, we ask that you teach 2 weeks before you assign the second class. And then the second class or subject, teach 2 weeks. And then the third class or subject, and for the high be a full load for you. And then, of course, if you're not high school, then you have elementary 2 weeks before you add another class until you have the full class load. State law requires that you teach, that you have 4 full weeks of full teaching load. So for high school students, teaching intern, you should have, with those 3 classes, you should teach those 3 classes 4 full weeks in order to meet the criteria or this requirement for the state. And for elementary education majors, and for elementary education majors, you should teach whatever load that you have. If it's 5 classes or 6 classes a day, you should teach those for 4 weeks. That will count as your full teaching. So what we do is gradually move into the classes. And of course, towards the end, your supervising professors know how to move you out of those. You can drop a class, drop another class, and then drop another class. So you move back out. Documents that are due at the end of the internship, we talked about those. It's your research paper, your innovation plan, testing results, the documents from your PPAT or your state testing exams, your PPAT scores, of course. Please just try to remember, you do not have to submit your Praxis Core, your ACT, or your SAT scores, simply because of the fact that by the time you get to where you are, we've already verified that you have those, that they are accepted. And that's just what I'll say with this. The purpose of the Praxis Core, SAT and ACT, is to, they're both pre-professional skills tests. So we want to make sure that you pass, because the state says you have to have an acceptable SAT, ACT, and a Praxis Core score. So by the time you get in 303, or by the time you got to 303, if you didn't have that, you were probably, students were fooled. So if you were where you are now, then you can. Testing, most of you already know. I just put this here for your knowledge. If you haven't already taken it, we may have one person that may have already taken and passed elementary ed. But anyway, so Pearson's Foundation of Reading, you have your elementary education. You have to take a math. Used to be general curriculum test, but they changed that. So you can take the Praxis Math. That's the elementary education content. I should have put Praxis on there. It's Praxis Subtest 7813, or you can take the Pearson Test 203. We like to ask that you would take this test, pass or fail, before you graduate, because the state will allow you 3 years to have it done. And of course, by the 3rd year, if it's not done, then your contract will, of course, will not be renewed, and you will not be issued a license. So we want you to take it before you graduate. So with that in mind, and there's probably going to be some challenges with taking it, but it'll be okay. So just remember that we want you to take it before you graduate. Special ed has the same requirements, except that that Praxis 2 for special education 5543 is added. So you see what they have to the challenges that they have. They have 4 tests to take. Early childhood, there is no test required. There's not a test required for you to teach and receive your license for early childhood education, birth through kindergarten. But if you want to teach 1st grade or kindergarten, I'm sorry. The BK is preschool, but if you want to teach kindergarten in North Carolina, you have to take the test 5025. You have to pass. What they actually asked you to do in order to teach kindergarten in North Carolina schools, they asked you to meet the requirements for this testing area. So if you want to teach kindergarten, if you are a BK, you cannot teach kindergarten in North Carolina. Now, if you have a school system that hires you, that's fine, but they're going to expect you to meet the standards or the requirements of this testing information for elementary. There is no Praxis 2 testing for agriculture education. Don't ask me why. I know why, but we're not going to discuss that today. Okay, Praxis Performance Assessment for Teachers, the PPAT. All 303 students, 304 students know what that is about. some of you who are residency or lateral entry may not. But anyway, it's an evaluation for you as a student teaching intern. It has to be completed as an intern, as a student teacher. There are 4 tasks. Task 1 is knowledge of students and the learning environment. All of these tasks have been embedded in your content courses for education. Task 1 is embedded in your EDU 487, the societal context class. We kind of go through task 1. Task 2 and 3 is in 485, the facilitation of learning. And task 4 is, we're still working on where we're going to put it. It's a content place. So right now it's probably moving into 2 and 3. So task 2, assessment and data collection to measure and inform student learning. Task 3, design and instruction for student learning. And task 4, implementing and analyzing instruction to promote student learning. The state requires that you make a score of 40, and for a highly qualified evaluation, you have to have a score of 44. That score of 44, highly qualified, probably gets you a little more money. So 4 more points would be good, but hey, we'll sell it for 40. Okay. Here's your schedule for the PPAT task information. I want to remind you, take this down. For those of you who are not familiar with it, please go to www.ets.org. www.ets.org. Click on Praxis. And once you go to Praxis, you'll be able to locate the PPAT. And I just recommend that you study that a little bit if you're not familiar with it. As I said, 303s and 304s, and if you took 485 under any professor here, you're probably familiar with the task. Okay, so here we go. Ears need to perk up because you do need to register for your PPAT task. It's approximately $400. I know that sounds like a lot, and it is, but it is what it is, and I'm sorry. The state requires that you take the PPAT. So registration opens on August the 4th, and it closes on September the 16th. So you have that time, much time to kind of get yourself together. And reschedule deadline, they said is September the 16th. If you have something to reschedule, if you have to cancel, that's the 16th. And your task submission opens September the 1st. You have to submit task 1, I think, before they will allow you to submit other tasks. Okay, this timeline is on the ETS website, and you will see it under dates, I think, and schedules. Task 1 deadline is September the 22nd. Task 1 is will be evaluated by your supervising professor. Okay, so they will work with you to help you get that one completed, to make sure it addresses all of the guiding prompts, to make sure you do a good job, and as they are responsible for evaluating that. Tests 2, 3, and 4 are evaluated by ETS. They have selected people from your major areas to evaluate those 3 tasks for you. So task 2 and task 3 are related. So they are both due October the 14th. They're due October 14th. Okay. And task 4 is due November the 11th. And resubmission registration December the 4th. If you need to, you may resubmit if you get your scores back and they're not what you want, and you need to, by that time, you know, oh, wow, I didn't quite make it. I made 38, so I need to do something else. So you can resubmit. There is a charge to resubmit. And you can resubmit up to December the 29th. Licensure process is maybe a little bit premature, but I just want to put it out there. Most of the time, the students forget that because you've got so many other things to take the space of this one. But we will provide that information for you at the end of the semester. You'll need a transcript along with your test and documents, and also a form that I will send out to you. you'll have to purchase your transcript from the registrar's office. So once you graduate, you finish up the semester, please wait about 3 or 4 weeks before you request that transcript. I don't want you to request a transcript and your transcript is not complete, and then you have to request another one. So just be patient, wait 3 or 4 weeks before you even request it, and that will give the registrar's office the opportunity to make sure that everything is on your transcript that needs to be. And I've repeated myself with the next bullet. But anyway, so that information will be on the web page, but I'll include it in an email that I'll send to you when it's time for you to prepare your application for NCDPI. So all that information will come. As I said, transcripts, I'm going to ask that you upload your LEA, IHE, certification of capacities form, your state testing information. And I don't know if we're going to have any international students back with us since they can't travel and they are not allowed to do online classes. So if you were, or if you have to have work authorization, you will have uploaded that. And of course, you would complete the application with your personal information that is requested by NCDPI. And they'll ask you what they want you to complete. Just somewhere document that once you separate from the University of Mount Olive, your email account is going to be active for 180 days. They won't just put you out to the pastor. It will still be here for 180 days, but we need, before you leave, to have your personal email information, and I will do a survey for that towards the end of the internship so that I can have your personal email as well as a contact number in the event that something happens and everything doesn't go well for you. At the end of 180 days, we forget. So if we at least have that information, we can sort of help you out. Okay, and thank you for that. There's an application deadline. It used to be, if you're going to graduate, it used to be November 15th, but that may have changed. I could not find it on the new calendar. So I'll keep looking. If I see that it is different, let's see if I see it. One last look. I do not see it. Last day to apply. Okay, wow, good. No, last day to apply for December graduation for fall, spring 20. Let me see, fall 19, fall 20. Fall 20 is November 1st. Okay. So November 1st is the last day to apply for December graduation, and the graduation fall commencement is December the 12th. So the last day to apply for graduation, if you're going to graduate in December for fall 2020, is November the 1st. And of course, fall commencement is December the 12th. Okay. Oh, what's happening? Why am I drawing? Okay, what's going on with that? Got a friend in the room with me. Student teaching internship classes and dates. We're going to meet via Zoom, of course. We've always done that. It's not a problem. So the clinical teachers will Zoom as well. Hopefully, I'll meet with you on a monthly basis. What I try to do is meet with the student teaching interns maybe at 5, and then the clinical teachers at 6, but I may just do them on a different day. And that way I don't have to have clinical teachers waiting until 6 o'clock. As a matter of fact, I may survey them, see what would be the best time. So I can do that. And I sure hope this is recording, because I did not mash record. Jesus, after all of that. Anyway,
It's saying recording.
thank you. Well, I see it
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I think we automatically record. Okay, so I will set those dates and I'll get those out to you as well. Additional internship information. Always check your email and Moodle daily. Please, please, please. We discussed it. If you're needed to substitute, you are allowed to substitute in whatever form that means. It is absolutely up to you. Ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself. Be safe. Be careful. If you feel you want to substitute, if you're substituting online, good, go with it, have at it. If they allow you to go in and you want to go in, that is strictly up to you. We're not making that decision for you. It is allowed. We don't think we're going to have the problem, but the only thing we ask is that you not substitute for 5 or 6 weeks, okay? Because we think if you substitute 5 or 6 weeks, you're really not learning, because if you're substituting for someone who's supposed to be monitoring you, they're not there, so there's a problem. So if something happens to your clinical teacher, they ask you to sub, let's have that conversation and we can talk about something else. We still have students who may need an early release for a job opportunity. That is allowed. There is a process. Just let us know if you receive an early release request, and we have the process here on campus that we abide by, and we'll go through. That's not a problem. All interns, we're working on a virtual career services career fair, but that's to be announced. We'll see. It is required. You also must register your internship as part of requests from the University of Mount Olive. So that information will be sent to you as well. I have a lot of information I need to send to you. I was kind of late getting all of my clinical teachers assigned because we know school's been out, so we have to allow for that. So I'll just have an email that will have all the information that you need. I will send that out to you. I will send out the email that will have the evaluations that you will need and other items in it as well. Okay, are there any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
The research paper, are we allowed to use one that we had submitted for an earlier class? Or are we
Yes,
starting from
no,
scratch?
you do not have to start from scratch. The recommendation is that you present that research paper to your supervising professor. Let them look at it. I don't know how long or how old that paper is, but you may want to add some up-to-date references and may want to tweak it a bit. What we do ask is that if you have a previous paper, that paper is an A paper. If it's a B paper, then we expect you to submit it to the professor, say, listen, hey, this is my paper, but I didn't get an A, I received a B, so I need you to look at it and tell me what I need to do to shore it up, okay? And that professor will work with you to bring it up to par.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Bell, I have a question, Dr. Bell.
Uh-huh.
This is Lisa. I have 2 questions. So my first question is the monthly evaluation that our supervisor is going to do. He said September, October, November, and then a final. Is there any way that they could accommodate and do like maybe 2 in October or something like that? The reason why I'm saying this is I'm expecting and I'm due mid-November. So
Lisa,
is there any way that they could work with me on that?
That is between you and your supervising professor and clinical teacher.
Okay. And then my second question is for the requirement for taking the math and the reading before we graduate. Is that a requirement that we take it, or is that something you just kind of ask us to do?
It is, we ask you to do it. You are actually, initially they wanted us to, you should have really be honest with you, should pass it. You should really take it and pass it before you leave us. But the state allows that you not have to. So, you know, we just get dinged if you don't. That's all I say.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I had a couple questions too. So, like, I know that our school officially starts, UMO starts on the 25th. My teacher goes back on the 4th, and then the public school system start on the 17th. What is our official start date, or is that between us and our teacher?
You start when your teacher starts.
Okay, so like if she goes back on the 4th to do, like just the teachers go back for work days and
You go
stuff.
back to the 4th as well.
Okay, that was my
That's
question.
when she goes back. Okay. Let's see, I was trying to share. See if I can find it. Questions?
I have a question. This is Willie Mae Herron.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
I can.
Do we and the BK do we have to do a plan?
Yes, you have to plan.
Okay.
Lesson, can y'all see, what y'all see on the screen? Excuse me. What do y'all see?
Capability form.
The who? Capacity.
It's yeah, capacity. It's a
Okay,
ELEA. It's
Yeah.
really blurry, extremely blurry.
I don't know what I can do for that. Is it any better? Worse? Hello?
I think the
It's a
font
little
is just
better.
too small.
Yes, it's better.
Better?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to do, let's not go into let's not ever go into a classroom where we have not planned. I know that in early childhood education, they use the creative curriculum, and maybe there's a foundations, I think, I'm not sure. But make sure that you make sure that you always plan. Make sure that you always have a plan. You can work with your supervising professor and clinical teacher to decide what that plan is going to look like, but you must always have a plan. So you do have to plan for your day. Questions?
Okay.
Dr. Bell,
Yes.
okay, I heard you say that if you have a BK degree, they don't allow you to do kindergarten internship. Is that what you just said?
If you have a BK,
I've already graduated. I graduated in August.
okay.
And I have a BK degree. I'm just doing my internship part of it now.
Where do they?
But I'm doing it with kindergarten. Can I not do that?
I don't. Who's speaking? Because I need to double check.
This is Sarah
Johnson. Okay. Okay. I don't. Okay. I have you as a pre-K placement, so I need to check. On my area, I have you pre-K. Is your assignment with Beth Head?
That's kindergarten though.
Okay. Well, we need to check that out because I requested pre-K.
Okay.
Yeah, you need a pre-K because I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. If you are BK and you do kindergarten, it's gonna be a problem for you. Now, if that's where that school has to place you, I don't have any control over that. So we'll have to talk through that.
Okay, so that means that do I have to go back in and talk to the school and have them try to replace me, or are you gonna?
No, I can do that, but if you can talk with them and see if they can find a placement for you, that would be much better. Pre-K needs pre-K. I would stick with my area.
Okay.
I think you need I requested pre-K. I thought that's what they sent me back. I didn't know what Beth Head's
Yeah, she's kindergarten.
I have a quick question. The slideshow presentation that we were viewing earlier while you were talking, will we receive that in the email?
I can send that, but I don't know if I'm gonna try to send you this. I can send it. Do you think that'll help you?
Oh, if you're planning to send this link, this Zoom link, then that's fine. Okay.
I can send the slide. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Let's look at the LEA IT certification of teaching capacity. This is what it looks like. Your the name of the candidate, the school, of course, the cooperating teacher, we call them clinicals, the grade level. Please fill this out completely. The LEA is a local education agency, Wayne County, Wilson County, Greene County, Harnett County, and the IHE, of course, is the University of Mount Olive. The proficiency descriptors, of course, are professionalism. We just talked about the North Carolina Code of Ethics, the classroom culture. What does your instruction look like? You encourage students to investigate, you integrate literacy, use 21st century learning skills. What about evaluation and assessment? And you know that's going to come with your PPAT. So with that form, impact on student learning, and their signatures, your signature, the cooperating teacher, your clinical teacher, the principal or the designee, could be the assistant principal, whomever, and of course your university supervisor. And at the end of each one of these pages, let me see if I can scroll back up. You must initial. Sometimes students forget to initial those, but I think that I just want to remind you that you need to do those. We will probably have to add an additional piece to this for online learning. Because I know that's what this is going to be. So we will probably add that to this form for us particularly. Okay, questions about this form? And this is your final form. Okay. Now let's look at see if I can pull up the lesson plan. Most of you already know what it looks like, but let me know when you see it. You see the assessment plan? I mean,
yes, ma'am.
Lesson plan. Most students are familiar with this. I think my students for your 303, hey, how you doing? Good, it's good to see you. I think that most of my students, most of the students are familiar with this lesson plan format. Excuse me for a second. Yes, sir.
Standards, performance indicator, skills, learning, objective goals, assessment.
Thank you. All right, so what we have is, this is the lesson plan that you will utilize. Your standards, performance indicators, your learning goals and objectives, the assessment, the types that you're going to use, what did you do before, during, or after your lesson. The structure and procedure, how you taught, what instructional strategies did you use, what learning activities did you use, and these are terminologies or terms that you will see in your PPAT, and of course address the resources that you have. Of course, they want you to utilize technology. How did you differentiate or modify lessons for students who were in need? Or what did you do to increase the rigor for those students who were well above the other students? What about your classroom management skills? Were there any extensions provided? Any follow-up activities? Any additional information that you need to provide?
Dr. Bell, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Irene.
Irene?
On the for the PPAT,
yes,
is like the study guides kind of sort of like this lesson plan, or
study guide?
Yeah, well, we go and take the exam part of it. Okay.
Well,
or just questions are pulled from it.
Well, questions are geared towards your lesson plan.
Geared toward, okay. Okay.
Did you take 487?
I do believe so.
Recital context, when did you take it?
I just took it this past spring.
With me?
No, ma'am, with Mr. Gainey, Paul.
Paul. Okay, did
Yes.
y'all work through your guiding prompts?
Yes.
Okay, so that's go ahead.
Kind of, okay.
Kinda.
And I had him, and I had I took Dr. I can't remember his other name, but we reviewed this lesson plan format as well. I remember that man's name. Miss Sarah, you remember?
I'm trying. I know who you're talking about.
I can't think his name. Oh my goodness.
I know who you're talking about because I had the same class. This is
Yeah,
Yes,
What is
ma'am.
his
But we went
name,
over.
Doctor? He started with a B, Dr. B.
Dr. Benson. Dr. Benson.
Yes, Dr. Benson.
That's right.
Benson, yes. I had him.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Okay. Sorry.
What I need you to really do, I gave you that www.ets.org. Need you to go to that website. I need you to, as I said, click on Praxis, then find PPAT, and then you'll see something that says task requirements. If you would go through those, I would do that now while I'm home. Maybe you have some free time that you want to look through that so you'll become familiar with it. All right.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
so I wanted to share with the clinicals, we have options for you to use as far as evaluations are concerned. We have this form that you can use, and we'll get that one to you, 2 forms. You may use this one. Lesson plan objective for area to comment, lesson preparedness, lesson alignment, lesson differentiation, execution. And we're working on this one. There's a few changes because with this one, we did add online learning with this one, student engagement, lesson assessment, pretty much everything that is on that, on the final evaluation and some things from the lesson plan. There's another option that you could possibly use. We haven't developed ours quite yet like this, but can y'all see this? Let me share it. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you see this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, this one is one that we were looking at. It's exactly like your LEA IHE certification of capacity form, except there's a place for comments, and then you rate the students here. So the clinical teachers, as well as supervising professors, will have the option of using this form, just so that you will see it. I kind of like this form simply because of the fact that it mimics the form that you're gonna have to send to NCDPI. So I like it, but I'm not opposed to the other one. So we will accept either one. It's just a choice for the clinical teacher and the supervising professor, and we will send both to them. Okay? All right, any questions? Let me see if I've covered everything that I needed to share with you. Oh, I wanted to say that if you're in my 493, we will probably, we will discuss the PPAT tasks some. I won't do a lot because I know they've already been covered, but I will offer that option there. So if you're not in 493, enrolled in 493, and you are a 499 student, you are allowed to audit that course for free. If you want to attend the 493 Zoom classes, you are free to do that with no charge, because we will probably discuss some information that will help you with the PPAT. Your supervising professors are really, really good. We've had some good grades with PPAT, so they do an extremely fantastic job with our students. We lose a few, but not all. So it's up to you if you want to kind of chime in to see what we're doing in 493. I will send that out to everybody, but it is not required of the 499 students, okay? I just want you to know that. So I think I have covered everything. Are there any questions, any comments, any concerns?
Dr. Bell, I just want to clarify one thing that you've kind of already talked about with Riley. So you said that we go back when our teachers go back, right? So if, like, say if I'm at Brogden, Miss Watson goes back on the 4th for teacher workday, I also go to Brogden on the 4th?
You go when your clinical teacher returns, you return.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And don't forget to work with your supervising professor regarding your times and evaluations. You know what? We got caught in the spring. We missed an evaluation, but it was the first part of March. We had a third evaluation scheduled for, I think it was April. And then we had students who were trying to back up. We had students who did not complete PPAT, so we're looking at that for November for them. So as soon as you can get in and if you can get them done, just go ahead and get them done. Your task 4 requires a video, so there's a lot I'm trying to remember. ETS will probably work to make sure that that task 4, that video can be done online with distance teaching, online learning. So they're working and we're working. So we have to see how that pans out. Okay. Are there any other questions? Let me see if I have everybody.
I have a quick question. So when our assigned teacher goes back to into the classroom, or so we can go in and help with like for example, making packets and communicating, just seeing how she communicates with the parents over the phone to make sure, like,
Yeah.
does that count as well?
Yes, that counts. But let me back
Okay.
up with Lisa's question, the one before that. When I said when they go back, you go back. But if they don't allow you in that school, you can't go in. So I have to take that back.
Okay.
Yeah. If the teachers go back in and they say, well, you can go in, that system says it's okay for you to go, then go. But if that system will not allow you to go, then you can't go. But I need you to communicate with your clinical teacher and your supervising professor. I would like to know if you can't go in, but maybe if that teacher goes back in and you can't go in, maybe you can talk with that teacher. Maybe the two of you can Zoom and she can share with you. I know the teacher probably doesn't want to have that issue, but excuse me, I just think you need to make some contact, and you need to document the communication that you're having. You understand? Does that make sense? If you can go,
yes, ma'am.
Go. But I just remember that you might not be able to go.
Okay.
So
all right, that makes sense.
But keep a log as to when you have talked with your clinical. You need to do that. Who is Cindy iPhone? Who is Cindy iPhone? See, Brittany, I got you. Seaton Wise. Who is Pixel 3XL?
Hey, it's Heather Watson.
Heather, okay. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for recording this.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll see. And I'm still waiting to find out who Cindy iPhone.
It says Kathy iPhone on ours.
Oh, is it Kathy? Oh, I thought that was Cindy. I'm sorry. Can't see. Who is Kathy iPhone? Who is Kathy? It does say Kathy. Who's Kathy iPhone? Kathy iPhone. Let me see who I have in mind. Kathy? Okay, I don't know. Because I got Catherine Harris.
I'm Catherine Harris, so
Yeah.
I'm not the Kathy iPhone.
That's you?
No, it's not me.
Oh, I didn't think it was because I know we talked. Okay, it's okay. It's not important. Okay, I'm going to end this. Are there any questions, any comments, any concerns again?
No, ma'am.
Dr. Bell.
Yes.
This is Danielle Price. I had a question. I know you mentioned earlier about some confusion with verifying employment. Were you able to get all of that taken care of once they realized that we do actually, in fact, work for the school system?
Yes, ma'am. Your assistant superintendent emailed me back and said that you all were all employed. I said, well, thank you so very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
There's a problem.
Kathy,
yeah, it is a problem.
Say what?
Kathy iPhone is Willie Mae Herring.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Kathy.
Yeah.
Because that's really made Kathy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Professor Bell.
Yes.
This is Gwen.
Yes, ma'am.
I spoke with my advisor. I changed my last name. It's not Austin anymore.
Okay. What
yes,
is
ma'am.
What is
Flight, F-L-Y-T-H-E.
F-L-Y-T-H-E. Okay, got you. All right. Gwendolyn Flight. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Austin out.
Yeah, she lost out.
Okay. All right. Now, did everybody get the internship placements for fall? I did the best I could. Some of those may change. But I
Yes,
think
ma'am, I
Right
did.
there.
I need you to do me a favor. I need you to contact your supervisor, your clinical teacher. If you haven't already done so, some of them are here today. Make sure you contact them. Verify the email address I sent out. I don't think any came back. I just sent it out late last night. So I need you to verify the email addresses and make sure you have the right clinical teacher. And also, Sarah, I thank you for correcting that pre-K piece because that's important. So what I need you also to do is to look at your major to make sure it is correct, that your area of assignment is within your major. And I bring that up because I want to make sure that in the initial application, some students would mark K6 because that's where they wanted to teach. So make sure that if you are an elementary education K6 major, that is what you've been studying as long as you've been here at the University of Mount Olive, or when you came back for a plan of study, that your plan of study says elementary education K6. We do not want you to student teach in the incorrect area. I know that Barry, Riley, Kelly, I verified you. Your plan of study is elementary ed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Lisa, I know you're good. Let's see, who else do I have for elementary education? Mallory, I think you're good. And Tiffany, you're good. Are you elementary ed? I think I verified yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Just on your plan of study, it says elementary education, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And
And
so,
I also, when you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
you go ahead.
At the beginning of the call, when you said you hadn't heard nothing about my placement, I emailed my principal, and she's gonna contact Kathy McLam back at Johnson, the Board of Education in Johnson County. She's done her part, so I guess it's a delay at the county.
Yes. Well, yeah. I think you're the, yeah. Kathleen McNam is really, really good, so I don't know what's going on. And I do know that, I know you'll be placed. Gina, I don't know what's going on with yours, but I think the two of you will be placed. She's willing to work to find somebody that will serve, so I think it'll be fine. It's just a matter of us just getting those two pieces of information for you. And then me getting them, as well as some other clinicals who are not here today, a copy of this video for them. And
Dr. Bell, this is Gina.
Yes.
Is there anything else that I need, that y'all need from me?
We're just waiting on your placement.
Okay, I was just checking.
Okay. Everybody, all hearts and mind clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, all right. I'll just say blessings. And I'll just say this as an end, and please don't charge it to my head, don't charge it to my heart, just that I believe this. I pray that the Lord's mercy will have mercy on us during this challenge.
Yes.
May his grace abound. So
Amen.
we just have to keep praying, y'all.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Stay well, stay safe, and take good care.
Amen.
You too.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
God bless everybody.
See, you ain't see all that. Stop it. There you go. I gotta get out of here. Jerry.
Okay.